can you talk a little bit about how difficult it's been to understand what the real truth is about the change in the market since the crisis has started?
Yeah, I do believe that for nowadays managers who are in the positions, it's kind of rather first time to experience such a, let's say, crisis. It's not something ordinary, so because it has more in-depth impact. So it's something new, and it takes time, obviously, because you can't see all the facts behind and all the impacts and all the signs of what's going on from the scratch, from the beginning. So,
and have you had to change somehow your standard way of getting this information? Have you been looking at new sources?
I think that's a very good question, because it is always a question, and I guess in many of the managers, to say whether we move from the direction we go, whether we really skip from the strategy or not. And it's especially during the crisis when, like our company, we've been hit hard with the currency, the foreign exchange rate, etc. When we buy 80% of the raw materials of the products from outside of Czech Republic, then you immediately hit on the bottom line. So then you need to really send a straight message to all the employees and all the partners like franchisees that, hey guys, we're not moving anywhere else from the quality we set back many years ago. So yes, it's definitely challenging, because these days when you have such a hit and the market, like the informal eating out, is not really growing like it was in the past. Rather, it's declining because people are more cautious and not willing to spend that much. So then you really need to spend much more efforts, resources, and obviously money to invest in order to keep the business on the same level that it was. So we had to change, obviously, but luckily not enough. We didn't move from the strategy, and we didn't change the strategy. So.
And are you seeing solid trends? Are you able to detect solid trends, or is it still sort of very chaotic, and from one month to the next there's surprising news?
What I would say is that since last year September until the end of the year, it was kind of learning curve of what's going on, and our business didn't have such an impact, because before people started to recognize that there is certain crisis, in our business, they didn't change the behavior, so we didn't feel that. But then with the winter times, from January to March, Q1 this year, with quite a bad weather, and I told in one of the interviews already that our business was hit more hard with the weather than with the economical environment and crisis. Yes, so that time it was very, very difficult to really maneuver a little bit with the business, because there was kind of double impact. One was from the economy, and the other one from the short-term impacts, such as the weather, which for our business definitely impacting. When you have lots of snow outside, people don't go out with the car, and on top of that, they don't buy that much petrol because having less money. So it was really difficult to figure out for the first 3 to 6 months what's going on.
And so I would say the general lesson that most of us have learned over the last couple of years has been that it's almost impossible to predict what will happen. And I think that we've lived in a cocoon for some time where we thought that there was going to be this sort of constant growth, and we could predict in 5 years. Have you changed your management in any way of the company, of trying to set strategic aims, of trying to increase flexibility inside the company, so that you're, I guess, less based on sort of long-term predictions and more capable of reacting to probabilities that were low, that you thought were a low probability but actually become a reality?
Yeah, I don't think so that it has happened really, because What we did definitely is that we focused more on the core competencies of our business. So in the past, when there was a potential to grow, that inflation was higher, GDP was higher, so there was a room to really grow. Now, when the market is shrinked, you have less opportunities, then you definitely focus on the core competence of your company. So the diversity was not really something which was in our mind since the beginning of this year. So we said we have to look for the key core competencies, the key strategies, the key path which we took in the past, to cut all those activities which were delivering a minor results. So in the past it was good, but now it was more to protect the core of the business. What's very good is that when you play the game with the team, then it's very important to practice well, and then you can win the game. Of course, there are opportunities that you take a different way, you take drugs, etc., which is not legal, and that's if I compare it with the businesses, it's like when the times are good, you need to be really under control and efficient, not really to invest money without thinking on what will happen on the long term. And luckily enough, with very good strategies which were set back like 5 years ago, coming from US, Europe. So we have quite aligned with the management here in Europe, and this is definitely helping us these days, because we didn't make a huge loan, so we could really generate enough cash flows to cover all the investments. So we luckily in a better situation. So to cut it in short, it means that with the management, the team was quite well prepared, but it was not the intention. It was not the intention to be prepared for any crisis. So, but luckily enough, all the strategies and all the hard facts of our business telling us that what we did in the past, it's helping, especially these days. So. When the game is on and you fit in a good condition, you can really try to win the game, and that's very important for us. There's very difficult after a robust years of growth to really kind of motivate all key stakeholders, managers, franchise partners, who are running the business, to tell them these days now, if you do the same job, you won't get to the same result. So this is something which was changing in our minds, to really sit down and talk about what is our expectation. We had to change our expectation, because when we set the plans, the budget last year, middle of last year, then it was different situation. So but as I say, the core team is really not changed. That's very important, because when any crisis starts and you start to panic, you start to change A, B, C people on the teams, then definitely you're getting even in more difficulties, because if you have new people on board. So I said we need to really make sure that we stabilize the team with the core competencies, with the core strategies, to run through the current situation. So far it's working, but as I said, we've been hit hard, like many other companies, with external factors. So it's the name of the game is a little bit changed now after really robust years. I was not here last 3-4 years, but I could see really how the economy was growing. Now it's difficult times, so so it's new challenge.